Yesterday I was reading in 1 Samuel. I read a story that I have read before. It's a story that is known well to me. It's known well to most people. And yet as I read through it, God did what God often does. And He shined some new light into my mind, into my heart. He showed me something new. You see, there seems to be something special about the number 40. For 40 times 10 years, the Israelites suffered as slaves in Egypt. For 40 years, they wandered in the wilderness. For 40 years, Jesus fasted in preparation for His earthly ministry. This just seems to be a pattern. And I saw and I noticed that for 40 days, Goliath taunted the armies of Israel. 40 days, every day he went out and the two armies came face to face. There was one that came from a mountain on the right and one that came from a mountain on the left. They came face to face. They faced each other. And then this champion, this massive man, Goliath, would come out and he would taunt the Israelites. He'd say, "Send me someone who will fight with me." And the Israelite army was terribly afraid. Terribly afraid. So David came bringing food for his brothers, and he heard this man speak. And he said, Who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he can come here and say such things about our God? Who is he that we would allow this? And it made some of the soldiers, including his own brother, angry that he would question them for not standing up. And Saul got wind of David's words, and he called David into him, and David said, hey, I'll fight the hockey puck. I'll go do it. I will not allow him to speak of my God this way. I will go fight him. There's something that I found very interesting. You see, at the time when David said, I will go, I will fight, send me your servant, I will go and fight Goliath. His shepherd's bag was empty. His hand was empty. It was only after David committed to the battle that he found 5 smooth stones, that God provided the things that he would need in order to go and defend God, to go and work in the ministry. It was only when David committed to God that God prepared David. And it got me to thinking, it's important, I think, that we prepare. But I think more important, even essential, is that we dare to go into ministry, that we dare to stand for God, that we dare to go out and boldly share the good news of Jesus Christ with our friends, our neighbors, our associates, and strangers. It is not the prepare that we need, it's the dare. Now, I'm not suggesting that we don't prepare. I'm not suggesting that you don't spend time reading the Word. I'm not suggesting even that as you think about ministry, that you don't seek the counsel and advice of your church elders and pastors. This is critical. The counsel of your pastor and the elders of your church and other wise men and women who you can bring in to help you in your ministry, it's invaluable. They will see places where perhaps you might put your foot in a trap, and they would say, you might want to take a second look at that. It's not that they would control you. It's not that they would tell you that you can or can't go into ministry. It is simply that they would be more worthy eyes, more righteous ears, more worthy hearts looking into the ministry and saying, well, this looks good. This maybe is a question. And it just strengthens your efforts. So anyway, as I said, God didn't provide the 5 smooth stones until David showed up and proved that he had the dare. Again, I suggest that the dare is more important than the prepare. You see, David had been prepared to fight while he kept his father's flocks. He told Saul, hey, I fought off the lion, I fought off the bear, and God always delivered me from the paw of those beasts. God protected me, and God will protect me now and deliver me from Goliath. Well, I think this is how it works. And so David had to prepare, but what good would that prepare have been if David had lacked the dare? And so in our ministry, we are not only going out and preaching and teaching the word, but we are inviting people to join us. And I would ask you to find the dare. You see, I believe that when we find the dare and we finally just commit to the battle and we step out in boldness, that God will fill our hearts with courage and with ability. He will fill our hearts with faith. He will fill our minds with wisdom and with knowledge, and He will put the word, His word, on our tongues. We will know what to say. He will place those 5 smooth stones in our hand so that we can go and do what He would have us do. This is the wonder of the prepare. You show up with the dare, God provides the prepare. I'm convinced of it. I'm convinced of it. And so, pray with me. Dear God, bless us. Bless us all with the dare. God, bless us to know that we are each one called to enter the ministry. We look to the Great Commission in the last verses of Matthew, and we see that there are no exemptions. All are called to go and make disciples of all the nations. We are all called. But God, we don't all respond sometimes. We know that all of the men in the army of Israel were called. We know that all of them were called to defend you. We know that all of them had stepped forward and volunteered to be in the army or had been called to the army. I don't know how they did their recruiting, God, but they were there and they had the calling. And we know that when Goliath shouted his threats, they were fearful and they ran away. God, we know that. We know that they were called. So God, give us the dare. Give us the dare to face our Goliath, whoever he is. And God, when we show up and commit to the battle, then we would ask you, God, to multiply our dare with your prepare. God, fill our hearts with a willingness, with a courage, with a determination, with a boldness, and also with the kindness and the meekness to go and do your work as you would have us do. Give our minds clarity of thought and the ability to say those things that you would say if you were there. God, give us your power, give us your authority, give us your desire to love our neighbors and to lift them up to you. God, this is our prayer. In Jesus' name, amen.